I know you can't. This is the shadow of it because it's behind the clouds, but bodies of light, the seekers and sojourners of truth, the 144 chosen of the chosen few. You all know who you are. I greet you in the love, love, love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I am Celestial Earth in this divine energy, essence of it all, reporting to you live from nowhere other than 5D, the fifth dimension, and the place to be under this blood moon that is transiting so much for us in this 5D shift. It is a major thing. I know a lot of you have been hearing the uproar about it, about the blood moon, the lunar eclipse, the retrogrades of Venus and Mercury that all are having an interplay, an interactive interplay with what's going on. So, as usual, I bring you the news to infuse with if you so choose to infuse. And if not, then you refuse. Be prepared to be fried and on the grid. So, with that, I'm waiting. I want this moon to come up so you could see it. I don't know how many of you caught it, but it was red, like it was real orangey red earlier, and now it's like a little bit, little lightish yellow, but you can still see the glow of it. So this full moon is, you're gonna see it's a blood moon because it is, the eclipse is a block of the moon. It's a lunar eclipse. So what's being eclipsed? The moon. By what? The shadow of the earth. As I said before, the earth is in the shadows. So there's a lot of shadows going on. There's a lot of shadows that want to hide still in the earth, that want to eclipse what's happening with our inner world, the moon representing the inner world. So by the earth being in that way, you're starting to see it peak back up. By the earth being in the shadow of this light from what? The sun. The sun casts its light on the moon when there's a full moon, and you get a um, full moon glow from the light of the sun that is reflecting on the moon. But we, because of where the earth is, um, it is now a total lunar eclipse in the moon. So there's a lot happening there, and I spoke about that already. I really wanted to get on here and share with you all something that came to my attention a little bit more yesterday while I'm under this moon. We're going to talk about these interchanging timelines. So this is something that a lot of us in 5D, entering to 5D, must understand about the timelines within timelines, because that's what's happening as this moon helps to shift us. As I was speaking to someone earlier today and saying the timelines, we're in different timelines. A lot of us have been doing so much soul work that we have quantum leaped multiple timelines. Some of us are like 4 timelines away from people. You're sitting right next to them, and I've said this before, but you are in a different timeline. That means you are experiencing the existence of this now timeline moment with everyone differently, or let's say with whoever you're sitting next to. So, and it's not, what I want us to understand while I'm talking about interchanging timelines is we sometimes tend to think, including myself, that when you jump to another timeline, that you're just in that timeline and you're completely out of it, and you don't teeter tot back into the other timeline. When you drop into lower vibrations, sometimes you drop back into a little old timeline. Um, and back and forth. It's kind of like that. And when I say, let me be clear, because even timeline doesn't have a set definition. There is it's layers to that even as well. So when I say interchanging in between the timeline, it is more like a time reality. Like when I say true time reality, which is what I'm going to explain right now. There are 3 realities, and I said I would talk about this in another video, so I'm explaining it now. There's ideal time reality, real time reality, and true time reality. And most of those who are successfully pushing through the timelines are living more in a true time reality. So that's what I mean by teeter tottering back, because as we jump timelines, we often enter into the next time reality. So we may interchange between these time realities, right? And we have them in all dimensions. So even within 3D, you could be within 3D and be in ideal time, real time, or true time. Usually those that are in 3D and in true time reality are advancing into the fourth and fifth dimension. And same thing if you're in 4D. Usually if you're in true time reality, you're advancing faster than those who are in real time reality. A lot of people in real time reality think that they have arrived at true time reality, but they're not true, they're real. And that means they're just a little bit more true than those who are in the ideal, right? And so I wanted to kind of share that so we understand the difference, because even within 5D, within the fifth dimension, um, you have the same thing. You got some idlers in 5D that are just barely there and they're in ideal time reality. And they kind of flicker. I call those the flickering ones. They flicker in and out. And then you have real time and true time, right? And so these realities are interchangeable that we're in and out of. And why I'm speaking about that, because some people are in 5D and they may assume that they're all together there in 5D. We are on different levels. In all dimensions, there are different levels, right? Even in 3D. So not everybody in 3D is bad. A lot of us who are advancing, it's like, oh, I can't deal with them 3D people. Some of them are true time reality 3D people and they are advancing. It just takes time for them to let go of some more shadows of the 3D. There are concepts and perspectives that we have to release and let go, which is what this blood moon is really highlighting for us. It's giving us the opportunity to release and let go, to release the old karmic stories. This is a karmic cycle that's coming to a close, coming to an end. And this is for, it goes across the board, multiple timelines. It's not just this now moment, this lifetime, right? It is also helping us to release old stories from a past life or past lives, karmic soot that we walk with again and again. This is a major shift for us. And it's not just about the moon, but the moon is, this moon at this particular time is preparing us for a major cosmic shift, which is Neptune leaving Pisces. This is major. I got to do like a whole different video about this, but this is really major. This is a major cosmic shift for a lot of us that is helping us to break a lot of illusions in this lifetime from previous lifetimes. And this moon is like a precursor to that. This is like a last minute window that is helping us, along with the retrogrades, the Venus retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, all of this that is really happening in this moment within this ecliptic window that we're in right now, of the lunar eclipse happening right now and the solar eclipse that's going to be happening in 2 weeks with the new moon. So while we're in this ecliptic window, it's given us an opportunity to really shift the dimensional timelines for ourselves individually as well as collectively. So I share this so that we understand, overstand, and understand what's really happening with this blood moon. And it's as I was saying, it's helping to really shift things within the blood. Remember, the blood holds our codes. All of our spiritual blueprint and codes are in the blood. So there is definitely something to be said about this blood moon, right? What's stirring in your blood? What's boiling in your blood? And I'm talking about lineage, ancestral lineage, things that it's given us an opportunity to lift and extract out of our blood. I am talking about a spiritual dialysis. We are having a spiritual dialysis where we are washing the blood ancestrally, individually, everything within our blood, right? The collective karmic imprint on this world, including the shadows of the age of the ram and the shadows of the Piscean age. We are being able to utilize this individually and collectively to lift that sticky film, to lift it individually. And the more that we do it individually is the more that it happens collectively. This is why it starts with the one. Each one, reach one, teach one, right? And something I really want to address about these timelines, these interchangeable timelines, faithfully we all understand, now that I've broken down how many of, time realities are in, 5D. So speaking specifically to the 5D people, Don't be fooled to thinking that everybody in 5D is with you on the same time reality, and understand that it's interchangeable, right? So even those who are not yet, let's say they're not in true timeline, they may be in a real timeline, real time reality. Let me say time reality. They teeter totter back and forth as well. So when they advance, when they're in their higher frequencies, they can tap into the true timeline, and then they may draw back into their real timeline. And so I say this so that those of us who are interacting understand when and where these interchanges are happening, so that we can know how to be. And so when we're communicating, and we're going to see a lot of that now, especially with Mercury in retrograde, you're going to see with the communication that it is showing a time lapse. I'm calling it a time lapse because that's what it feels like, a lapse in time. So as we're communicating, and while we're in different places, if I'm in true timeline and someone else is in real timeline, um, it kind of can feel like a drag for those of us who are in true timeline. Um, and for those who may be in a real timeline, or a, excuse that, I'm getting a call, or an ideal timeline, they will feel like maybe annoyed that you're not taking the time and having patience. Maybe they feel misunderstood, like you're not understanding them. They're moving, they're processing things slower. And it also slows you down if you're on your true timeline and you're moving at a faster light speed, so to speak. So it's like your light speed is moving faster, and it creates a communication mishap, right? But allow yourself, this is what I have to say to those of us who are moving at a faster light speed. Refocus was the answer that I got. So while they are wherever they are, instead of you being annoyed or frustrated or waiting on them to catch up, in that moment, focus your mind on what you want right now in that now moment, and repeat it to yourself. Believe me, I worked it, right? Repeat it to yourself over and over again, like a mantra in your mind, until you get an intuitive answer or an intuitive guidance, is what's going to happen. And it really is the path of least resistance. So I share that so that we understand how to communicate in these spaces. It's like a void. It's like there's a void there, or time lapse, right? Within, and I say time lapse because it's within our communication, um, while we are in between time realities. We're in different time realities. So how, ooh, firefly. So how are we communicating with these time realities? It feels like a time lapse, like you missing something, I'm missing something. Either way, there's a miscommunication, a mishap in this time lapse, right? So I say this so 5D people, please do not get frustrated, especially my true timeline 5D people. Simply take a deep breath and start to speak, start to refocus, change. It's like you're changing the lens on the microscope. Just change the focal lens. And within your own mind, ask what it is that you need to ask from your higher self, your over self, and focus on it. And as you do so, that very thing that is happening with the other person who may be in another timeline, instead of allowing it to pull at you, to drain you, to drag you, to whatever it does to you, to stretch your patience, um, I invite you to stretch your patience in the right way and just refocus. Believe me, it works, and it works if you work it. I literally had to work this yesterday, and I'm speaking to you from a reflective standpoint, because in the moment I didn't know that that's what I was doing. I didn't intentionally refocus. I just decided to ask for what I wanted in my mind. Instead, I decided to take the path of least resistance, is what I told myself. I said, you know what? I don't want to deal with this right now. Path of least resistance. And I just went into my higher self, and I just started to ask what I want. What is the question I want? And it was something simple. I just wanted to know what was the quickest route to where I'm going. And because of a lapse in time, and the communication was having we were having a communication problem, because they weren't quite processing what I was saying, and I was asking it quicker. It's like I was speed. To me, I wasn't really asking that fast, but to the other person, it's like, wait a minute, you're not giving me a chance to get to this because they're on a slower processor. They're not moving at the speed of light that I'm moving at. And I'm not recognizing that. But the moment you do, I had to stop and say, okay, wait a minute, I see what's happening here. And instead of stressing the matter between me and the other person, it's simple to just go into yourself and refocus and say, okay, what is it I want? I'm asking for a quicker time route, and they're not able to get that for me as quick as I need it. So I asked myself, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is the quicker time route? And I did it in a way where it became a mantra over and over and over again. And intuitively, I was intuitively guided that when I got to that point of which way to go, right or left, it guided me to intuitively go left. And then, as it turns out, by the time they were able to get the answer, that was the answer. It said, oh, by the way, go left. And I was like, I got it. Spirit gave it to me. And I didn't have to erupt on the person. And I didn't have to continue going down a frustration lane within myself of feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to pull my hair out. A lot of us have been feeling this. A lot of us that are moving at light speed. And I share this with you so that we remember to stay in compassion, right? Compassion for the collective. Remember, they're not where you are, right? For whatever reason, they're just not there. They could be, but they choose otherwise, right? They choose to do otherwise with their time reality. And so this is how we're going to coexist while the veils are very, very thin right now. And so it's getting really hot on both sides. It's getting really hot. It's getting really annoying on both sides. Because on the other side, where they are processing slower, it's because of the level of resistance they have. They're not firing through their wire. The light cannot fire. The fire cannot fire because of the resistance that they have. And it's due to their unhealed wounds, which are the demons that they're holding onto in that demonic database, however you want to look at it. So because of that, they are not moving at a certain pace, and we're moving at light speed. And so their annoyance, I say all that to say this, that in their demonic holds of unhealed wounds and resistance, they are a part of the desperate energies that are desperate to hold on to things that they are not ready to let go. We are a part of the energies in advancement, so to speak, right? The intuitive energies that are ready to just go forward quickly, fire off, because we have less resistance in us. For those of us who have been doing the shadow work, the soul excavation, all of this, we have less resistance. I've been talking about this since last year. And so now when we have these really thin veils and the times are really splitting, people are now really seeing the difference. And this is why, because of the resistance. So if you have any, I don't care if you're even in one of the higher spiritual aspects, we still have work to do. Use every opportunity that you can to remove the resistance out of your wire. That's why I'm having the workshop. And for those of you who are in the workshop, welcome, thank you. You see the work that's being done. You see it. I've gotten feedback where they see this is why this is needed. So kudos to you for showing up for yourself and doing what you need to do. If anyone is in another workshop, it don't have to be mine. Kudos for you for showing up for yourself, because this is a very pivotal time to do what must needs be done, to have a turnover. We need transmissions and activation. So some people who like to say, oh, well, I'll do it myself. It's really where three or more agree, where two or more agree, there is power. So there's power in collective energy, which is synergy. So it is, although you can do it by yourself, it is better if you get with a collective group and do this work and do some type of activation, transmissions, all of that. But most importantly, removing the resistance from your soul, from your wire, so that you can fire, right? And this is how we shift in these different timelines. And what I just explained to you is how we exist within the different timelines amongst each other with least frustration and the path of least resistance. We don't have to resist each other. We simply have to stand in our truth and hold ourselves accountable as well as others accountable. And when I say hold others accountable, it's not for us to check them either. If you feel led to and you feel like you can and you feel like they're receptive, sure, but it's not up for debate. We don't need to debate. We don't need to force anyone to believe anything. It's either they get it or they don't. And it's not our job to make them see something they don't see. So taking the path of least resistance is allowing it to be and just change your focus. You know who you are. And so you stay raising the vibrations, lighting up the light grid, being infused with the light grid, because the light grid is gridding. It's light grid activation. And this is what's going to help you exist within, between, let's say, inter timeline, like, if that's a word, right? Between the interdimensional timelines, right? And this is how we're going to coexist with least resistance and least friction. Because mind you, while the veils are so thin, while they are thin, it's causing a lot of friction because we're seeing each other and there's a lot of panic on both ends. Of course, the demonic forces are definitely panicking. The opposition energies, they panicking because they see the light. They see us lighting up. And it is a panic for them. And for those who are on in the light end, those of us who are light warriors, it's a bit of anxiety and frustration because we're seeing the BS. The veils are so thin, so we're more sensitive and we're seeing it more, but we just have to stay calm. Be humble and stay calm within the self. Take note of self, be accountable for self, be responsible for self. This is self-work. And it is just to exemplify. If someone happens to catch it, beautiful. If not, and that's okay too. This is our timeline shifting. So allow yourself to be interchangeable with the timelines. It's know what I really want us to understand is know that you're just not going to stay there in one place. You're going to find yourself teeter-tottering back and forth. And the teeter-totters, the flickers, they flicker back and forth. Those are the ones who have more resistance, even in 5D. I'm going to say it again. Everybody in 5D is not on the same path. They're not all in heaven of the new earth, if you get what I'm saying. A lot of them are teeter-tottering back and forth or struggling because of the shadows and the resistance that they're still holding on to. So look real deep, within you. Let me see. Welcome, Soul Seeker. Ooh, I love the seekers and soul journeyers of truth. Let me see what you're saying. Have you had a near-death experience in your spiritual journey? If you have, can you share that journey? Near death. I've had, I can't say I've had like the ones that I've probably heard stories of. And it may have been more in like dream world, like when I am in the dream world, in the subconscious state, I've been shown some things. The closest I've come was like childhood, not as an adult. In childhood, near death, the closest I've came was like life flashing before your eyes, almost drowning, life flashing before your eyes, boom, 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 but not near death as in I'm on the other side. I've seen the light being close to it, also in an accident I've had, but pulled back real quickly. So I can't say I've spent time on the other side, but I definitely know about what happens on the other side. And that's another story I can definitely get into. I may have to do another video about that because I'm getting ready to go into the workshop right now. But I do know that there is multiple avenues of where you go to on the other side. And then you can be pulled into that light. Like I remember feeling the warmth and being ready to go there. Like, yes, I see the light, but I got snatched back real quick. And then when I opened my eyes, it was like, I'm in the car, in the accident, looking around like, oh, I'm still here. I am one of those souls that was like always yearning to go home to the stars as a child. So, That was the closest I've had. I haven't really had anything where I've been in a like in a coma or anything like that, but I do understand those states of existence, and oftentimes I'm shown what happens behind there, and that you have a chance to come back. And some people choose, they want to stay over there. Like I got a glimpse of it and was like, ooh, let me in. um, However, let me see. Is there any other? That's the closest I've gotten, but I will do a video a little bit more on near death experience and what happens on the other side, what happens with us coming back, returning. It's all a part of this convoluted universe. There is no one way or one answer, and that's why when we hear these near death experiences, we hear them on so many levels. They happen to people differently, and it depends on that soul and what they're here to do and why they have to come back, right? Ashe. But thank you. That's a good question. We need to get more into that, especially since I am sort of like a death doula as well. I have something to do with souls that are transitioning. That I can say I have experience with. They tend to come to me. Um, and want to either pass messages or whatever. So I kind of have an understanding of, as I said, transition. And this is why we have to understand death is an illusion. Oh, there goes the moon went away completely. Well, you could still see the glow. But yes, death is one of the illusions that we definitely have to break, because it simply is just a transition from one state of body existence to another. But the spirit and the soul is infinite. Ashe. Um, oh, let me see. Do you know why you were sent back at that moment? Oh, because of vibrational energy vibes. Yep. Have you seen gatekeepers or entities? Not on the other side. I didn't see anybody in my way. I just saw the light and felt it. I haven't seen gatekeepers except for those gatekeepers that we have here on this dimension. Y'all know the gatekeepers that we talk about. But yes, something that you said makes a good point, that I am sent back because I am here to do work. I am one of the chosen. I'm chosen because I've chosen this path. And I have to come back and be a part of raising the vibrational frequencies, like you said, because I definitely played a part in light grid work for this new earth, light grid activation, which I started doing consciously in 2022. And so I would say I'm definitely what you call one of the spiritual elites, the light warriors. And so, yes, there's work to be done. And I kind of felt that even at that time, before knowing what I know now. It's like, why am I here when I opened my eyes? But it was like, okay, I know why. I got work to do, right? So, yes, it definitely is a part of raising the vibrational energies, right? And so are you. You're here to raise that too, because you're not here by accident. And even just the way that you are asking these questions, you are a spiritual light warrior as well, because it takes one to know one. And you're not here by accident. You didn't just happen to be here, right? So, welcome, light warrior. You too are a pioneer in this 5D movement, and you're here to also raise the vibrational um, grid and the vibrational frequencies that is opening up into the fifth dimension. So, thank you for being a part of that. And with that said, let me go ahead and go jump into this workshop. If you haven't gotten a chance to get in it, if you still want to, we have 3 more days. Today's our 4th day, the full moon, working on the heart chakra. And we have 3 more days working on the upper chakras, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. So if you feel like it's something for you, it's not too late. Go ahead, email me, divineenergystudio@gmail.com, and I will gladly answer you and send you the coordinates so that you can get in and get part of this blood moon lunar eclipse impactful energy. This is a major energy wave. It is full moons on steroids on 10, because that's what the eclipse is. So we are going to get into this some more. Feel free to join in. With that said, each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out and be the candle that lights the next one and the next one and the next one. Peace, love, and light.